Organized crime is worsening in the SADC region, and that's according to the Institute for Security Studies. It's attributed this to porous borders, weak governance, and development deficits. Now, the latest data from the Global Organised Crime Index also revealed that 3 African countries, namely Nigeria, DRC, and South Africa, are just among the most affected by organized crime globally. So let's speak now to the ISS Willem Els for more on this. Willem, thank you so much for your time and a very warm good morning to you. I mean, let's talk about how worsened really the situation is, Willem, when it comes to organized crime, particularly though in the SADC region.
Yeah, as you rightly mentioned, 3 of the countries in Africa that really did not do very well in the organized crime index is Nigeria, and 2 of those countries are actually situated in our region, and that is the Democratic Republic of the Congo, that lays at number 5, and South Africa, that is currently laying at number 7. And you ask how it worsened, in 2021, with the previous organized crime index, South Africa was ranked at number 19 in the world. So that does not look good for South Africa, but it's also reflected, of course, in the recent crime statistics that have been released by the police.
Right. Let's talk about some of those negative effects, and hopefully you can further elaborate on them for us. What are these crimes, and what are the negative effects that they have had on the region, which I understand now we really reached crisis levels?
Of course, yes. Crisis is an understatement. If you look at the 2021 index, your financial crimes were not part of the basket. That have been added, and all of a sudden it shot up, and almost 43% of all crimes that are being reported in the region are actually financial crimes. So that took the first spot, and it replaced human trafficking, that used to be the most prevalent crime in the region, that pushed it down to number 2. The challenge with crimes like, for instance, your human trafficking and your sexual-related crimes is that there is a tremendous underreporting of these type of crimes. So we should not rest assured that there was a decline or that it was removed from the first spot. It is still tremendously high. Other crimes that are very prevalent in the region is your arms trafficking, human smuggling, as we mentioned, and one of the drivers that are really contributing to the majority of these crimes is the endemic corruption that is prevalent in the region.
Yeah, and that brings me to my next question around our criminality score and how South Africa actually fares, Willem, in terms of our capacity, our ability, or perhaps even inability to curb and combat organized crime. How do we fare?
Okay, if you look at the index actually measures 2 things. It measures your criminality on the one hand, but it also measures the resilience of the country, of every specific country, and the resilience is basically based on what is in place in the country, the international relations that the country has, the type of conventions that are being parties, the state is party of. It looks at our legislation. It also looks at the political will of the country in order to enforce and to implement all of these various instruments that are available to us. And there South Africa and countries like Botswana and Namibia in the region, they really did not do that bad. South Africa is actually unique in this situation where most of the countries that got a very high criminality score normally have a very low resilience score. But South Africa is one of the outliers that has a very high criminality score, but it also have a very good or favorable resilience score, and that counts in our favor. And we will have to pound in on that. We should cash in on the instruments that are there, and we should start to implement it. I think what is keeping it low for us it could have been better is the lack of political will and implementation.
Absolutely. And that also makes me wonder, when it comes to the underreporting of cases, when it comes to investigations and prosecutions, how do we fare there? And also, where are the challenges that South Africa experiences in that regard?
Yeah, unfortunately so. You know, we still have a very resilient police service where we still have a lot of men and women that are really putting their lives on the line every day. But the challenge is that it seems that they are being overwhelmed. What's happening is because of poor governance, bad management, nepotism, lowering of standards. What else can we bring in there? So many factors that are actually contributing, and that has been happening over quite a long period. It led to the eroding of our capacity in the police. For instance, to effectively investigate crime cases, to build a very good case docket in order to prepare it for successful prosecution by the NPA. We severely lack that capacity. And the problem that contributes to that is the skills deficit within the police is really caused by, in the one hand, you have a lot of your more competent investigators that are reaching retirement age on the one hand, but also you have a lot of these competent police officers that are leaving the police service for greener pastures in the private sector. And that means that a lot of the skills shift took place towards the private sector in many cases, with, of course, to the detriment of the police and to the detriment of us, you and me, who is lacking of, or is suffering of a lack of effective service in terms of investigation of crime.
A lot of work needing to be done there, Willem, but thanks for speaking to me. That's all the time I had with you right here on Newslink. And thank you so much for your time sharing this data with us with regards to where South Africa fares compared to other countries in the continent. We know that Nigeria, DRC, and also South Africa being flanked, of course, by the Organised Crime Index for rather seeing worsened scenarios reaching more than crisis levels, according to Willem Els. More needing to be done to curb all these challenges. Of course, all my thanks to Willem Els from ISS for joining me right here on Newslink.